The text wasn't meant for me. Can't wait to start our new life together. Just need to handle the Sarah situation first. It was sent to Jessica, his 28-year-old coworker. Mark quickly grabbed his phone, claiming it was a work mix-up. I smiled and nodded, but that text was the final piece of evidence I needed for the folder I'd been building for months. My name is Sarah, I'm 35 years old, and I work as a senior architect at an architecture firm. Mark and I have been married for 8 years, and we have a 6-year-old daughter named Emma, or at least that's what I thought until last week. Let me tell you how I saw that message. Mark had left his phone on the dinner table, which was quite unusual for him. For the past 6 months, he'd been keeping his phone glued to his side like it was part of his body. When Emma spilled water, Mark rushed to the kitchen, and as I reached for a napkin, his phone screen lit up. Can't wait to start our new life together. Just need to handle the Sarah situation first. I'll talk to her this weekend. Jessica Williams. I knew her. The young marketing specialist at Mark's company. The woman Mark called just a work colleague. That night, lying in bed listening to Mark's steady breathing, I couldn't get that message out of my head. The Sarah situation. Was I a situation to be handled? 8 years of marriage, the life we'd built together, our daughter, was all of that just a situation to be handled? But honestly, that text wasn't a complete shock. I'd noticed changes in Mark over the past 6 months. He started going to the gym, bought new clothes, changed his phone passwords. The first time I got suspicious was 3 months ago when he came home late. There was an unfamiliar perfume on his shirt. Feminine, sweet, young. That night I wanted to confront him, ask questions, demand answers. But something stopped me. Maybe it was my analytical thinking from being an architect. Whatever it was, I stayed silent that night. And thank God I did. The next day, I started observing Mark's behavior more carefully. His phone was always on silent, checking it without looking at the screen. Work meetings were more frequent and longer. He avoided eye contact with me. The second week, while dropping Emma at school, I passed by Mark's company building. In the parking lot, I saw Mark's car next to a pink Honda Civic. I noted the license plate, JWX2847. Later, I verified it belonged to Jessica Williams. The third week, Mark's behavior became more obvious. His phone kept buzzing during dinner. He'd saved Jessica as J in his contacts. The fourth week, I realized I needed a concrete plan. I examined our joint accounts. In February, there were restaurant bills, jewelry store charges, florist payments I didn't recognize. He hadn't brought me flowers. Not once. The fifth week, I called my old college friend Linda. She worked at a law firm. Hypothetical question, I said. She gave me detailed information about evidence needed for divorce cases. The sixth week, I hired a private investigator named Richard Blackwood. A week later, his report came in. Mark and Jessica were regularly meeting at the Marriott Hotel downtown. The photos were clear and damning. The seventh week, I examined Mark's phone bills. He and Jessica exchanged an average of 47 texts and 3 phone calls daily. Some conversations lasted until midnight. The eighth week, I managed to crack Mark's laptop password. In his emails with Jessica, I found their future plans, living arrangements, vacation reservations, even discussions about having children together. The most painful message: Sarah has no idea about anything. She's so naive, just focused on work. We can make this transition easy. Naive? Was I naive? The ninth week, I understood the complete plan. They were apartment hunting together. Mark would suddenly propose divorce to me and start his new life with Jessica. The 10th week, I completed my own plan. I secured my financial safety. I transferred half the money from our joint accounts to my own account. I hired David Martinez, a divorce specialist lawyer. I presented all my evidence, photos, phone records, email exchanges. The 11th week, I noticed Mark preparing for his big talk. He brought me flowers and made a romantic dinner reservation. That evening, he took me to Milano Restaurant, the same place where he'd proposed 8 years ago. Mark looked nervous throughout dinner. "Sarah," he said, "there's something important I need to discuss with you. I've been feeling that things between us have changed lately. I think I want a divorce." I acted shocked. "Divorce? Why? It's not your fault, Sarah. I've changed. I want different things from life. Is there someone else?" Mark hesitated. "It's not about that. It's about finding myself." "Okay," I said calmly. "If that's your decision, I'll respect it." I could see Mark's surprise. He didn't expect it to be this easy. The next morning, I called my lawyer David. Time to take action. That afternoon, divorce papers were served to Mark's office. A court order freezing our financial accounts was also issued. When Mark called me, I could hear the panic in his voice. "Sarah, what's happening? You wanted a divorce." I started the process. That evening, when Mark came home, he was a completely different man. "Sarah, please, let's do mediation." "Okay," I said. "But first, there are a few things you need to see." I opened my laptop and showed him the file I'd prepared. The color drained from Mark's face. "What is this?" "Just like you were planning your exit strategy for months. I was collecting evidence for months." The screen showed photos with Jessica, hotel bills, phone records, everything in chronological order. You thought naive Sarah had no idea about anything. But I've been watching your every move for 6 months. Mark collapsed into the chair. What do you want? A fair settlement. Emma's custody stays with me, the house stays with me, and Jessica needs to know the real cost of this relationship. I pulled out my phone and texted Jessica. Hello, Jessica. This is Sarah, Mark's wife. What Mark didn't tell you is that this divorce will cost him $3,500 monthly in alimony. You might want to factor that into your new life plans. Before hitting send, I showed it to Mark. Sarah, please, don't involve Jessica. She's already involved. She just needs to know the facts. I sent the message. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Jessica stood at our door with her purse. Is Mark here? Come in. Jessica entered the living room and found Mark. Is this true, Mark? Will you pay alimony? Jessica, I said gently. Sit down. Let's talk. What did Mark tell you about me? That you don't love each other anymore. That the divorce would be easy. Mark didn't tell you the truth, Jessica. He thought I had no idea about anything, but I've known everything for months. Jessica's face turned to Mark with shock. And Jessica, Mark is cheating on you too. Last week I saw him texting with someone named Amanda. This was a lie, but it was effective. Mark jumped up. Sarah, enough. Jessica started crying. I really thought you loved me, Mark. And Jessica, I added, I saw Mark referring to you as temporary entertainment in his emails. Jessica grabbed her purse and stood up. I'm leaving. Mark, don't ever call me again. She slammed the door on her way out. Mark and I were alone in the living room. Congratulations, Sarah. You won. This wasn't about winning or losing, Mark. This was about honesty and respect. That night, Mark packed his bags. The next morning he was gone. Just a note. Kiss Emma for me. My lawyer will contact you. Emma handled the situation well. Where will Daddy live? She asked. I don't know, sweetheart, but he'll come see you on weekends. The divorce process took 3 months. I got the settlement I wanted. Emma stayed with me. I kept the house. Mark would pay $3,200 monthly alimony. Mark's relationship with Jessica ended. Jessica moved to another city. Mark rented a small studio and started living alone. 6 months later, I ran into Mark at the park. He looked very different, older. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I regret everything. You're right. It's unforgivable. Is there any chance we could work things out? No, Mark. You burned that bridge. Emma ran over. Daddy, I went really high on the swing. Mark hugged her, his eyes welling up. That night, sitting alone in my house, I thought about everything that had happened. The pain was still there, but I also felt strength. I had proven I could stand on my own feet. A year later, I was promoted to principal architect. Mark was still in the same place. He had new relationships, but none lasted long. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed silent. But that happiness would have been built on mine and Emma's unhappiness. The biggest lesson I learned, trust but verify. Trust people but also check on them. And most importantly, value yourself. You're not someone's situation to be handled. Mark underestimated me. He thought of me as naive Sarah, but I was never naive. I was just trusting. After he broke that trust, he had to face the consequences. Today Emma told me, Mom, Daddy has a new girlfriend. How do you feel about that? I don't care. Will you be upset? No, sweetheart. What matters is whether you and I are happy. We are happy. Yes, we are happy. And that's the biggest proof of Mark's failure. The night I read that message, I thought it would be the worst night of my life. But it was actually one of the best. Because that night I learned the truth and decided to take action. Mark had said he needed to handle the Sarah situation. I handled the Mark situation instead. And now I don't have any situations. Just dreams, plans, and a beautiful daughter. Every woman I tell this story to asks, would you choose Mark again if you had the chance? My answer, no. Because now I'm stronger, more independent. When Emma grows up, I'll tell her this story. How to stay strong, how to prepare. Mark thought I was naive, but he was the naive one. The day that message came, Mark thought he had won, but the real winner was me. Every night when I put Emma to bed, I tell her, you are strong, you are smart, you are capable. She'll be the hero of her own story, just like her mother.